Welcome in, everybody. If you are not used to taking this class, right, if this is not part of your typical schedule, a couple of things to note. I would have water on hand. A chair is nice to have without wheels. A wall space is good for certain exercises, or maybe a door as long as nobody's going to walk through it. Weights are nice, although they're not required. You could have different sizes if you can access them, right? If you have access to different size weights. Water bottles work though, or cans of soup, or resistance bands. So use what you have laying around the house. What else? You don't need yoga mats necessarily. I have them here so that I don't get out of the camera view too much, but otherwise, yeah, I don't think you need them too much. You don't need any of that. It's all kind of bonus. I feel like there are other exercises that can be modified from what we do without using equipment at all. But anyway, shake out the arms, shake out the legs, kind of trotting in place. We've got to get warmed up here. This is a strength and stretch class. Emphasis is on kind of the strength, endurance, body fat management, that kind of stuff. And then we do a shorter stretch portion at the end. I did record a full-length stretch class, a 60-minute or maybe it's 45-minute stretch class if you want more emphasis on stretching, so that'll be available as well. Anyway, this is mostly strength, a little bit of stretch at the end. If there are any moves that you need to modify because they don't feel appropriate for you, please, please, please modify them, right? Don't do anything that you're concerned about your body doing. Intensity level, even if I'm encouraging you to fight through fatigue, don't do it if your gut's telling you not to do it, right? Listen to your body. All right, and settle down there, settle down. All right, turning the head left and right. Breathing. If there are any new moves for you today that are unfamiliar, definitely go light on weights if you use any weights at all. Eyes forward, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Very important that we warm up before this type of exercise. You want the body to be primed and ready for safe but also effective exercise. All right, reverse directions, up, forward, and down, big shoulder rolls. All right. Breathing, breathing, breathing. And settle down there. Nice wide feet. Sink at the knees and hips or sit on a chair for this one. You don't want to plant the foot and twist the knees. We want to rotate from the waist up for this move. So sink down a little bit, rotate, shoulder blade pulls back. Just kind of swing around a little bit there. All right, and I'm going to hold at the side and take a nice deep breath, expand the lungs and the ribs. Exhale, unwind, head to the other side, expand the lungs and the ribs, nice deep breath. Exhale and unwind. All right, feet come closer together, circles with the hips, hula hoop circles, getting the hips warmed up and ready to go. And slow switch directions. Circle, circle, circle. Good work, good work. Once again, great to have you guys today. Hope you guys are feeling well, resting well, sleeping well, eating well, being good yourselves. All right, a little bit of marching here. So it's not a high march for an abdominal squeeze. This is for the top of the legs here where the hips hinge. Okay, these are the hip flexors that we're warming up. It's just a low march, like you're kind of pedaling the feet. And let's turn it into a little bit of a jog. All right, jogging in place. This is our aerobic portion of class, so it's kind of it's halfway between our soft warm up and our a little bit more active warm up here now. So we're getting the heart rate rising, flushing the old stale stuff out, and getting the new oxygen and nutrient-rich blood throughout the system. If there's a move that you don't like, skip it entirely. That's fine with me, or modify it. All right, I'm going to keep my toes on the ground, bounce left and right, and add my wrists for a little bit of imaginary jump rope. Bouncing left and right. Next move, side jacks, okay? I tap my toe out and the arms come up. You might as well call them sloppy side jacks because my elbows are bent, right? I'm not trying to be very rigid and stiff with this straight arm thing. I feel like I risk more injury in my shoulders when I do that, so I'm just letting my hands toss up however they like. All right, adding a punch in here. So punching with the right as I step with the right, left as I step with the left. Okay, so same side punches. It looks like on the side. And all right, back to jogging a little bit. Let's bring the arms out to the sides here. T-shaped arms like in yoga. What we want to avoid is bringing the hands any higher than this high, higher than the height of the shoulders. We don't want any of that. So not up here. And that's not just right now, that's throughout the rest of the class. I'm going to bring my arms forward. Same thing. We don't want to bring the hands any higher than the height of the shoulders. Up here is no good. There are some exceptions, and it's when your forearms are up, you're more able to press upward and your elbows can come higher than your shoulders if you do that. But when we're doing this stuff, keep the hands at the height of the shoulders or below. Below is great. Prevent pinching in the shoulders and stuff like that. All right, shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Today, like usual, we're doing circuit style training where we do 2 or 3 or 4 exercises. Most often it's 3. That's the sweet spot we found. 3 exercises. And then we repeat those same 3 exercises for a second round, and that's our circuit, right? So we do several circuits, and then we get to our stretching. That's the pattern of the class. Here we go. First thing I like to do in every class is firm up the core so that we're working with a protected spine. My favorite move to start with is an isometric hold. This is a plank. You can do this at the wall or a door, as long as no one's going to come through the door. Nice tight core, keeping your eyes down on the wall, heels, hips, shoulders, and ears in a nice straight line. You can do this at a chair. I like this version quite a bit. Nice tight core, heels, hips, shoulders, and ears in a nice straight line. Tuck the chin back, right? If you bring your bottom up, it's a little bit less effective, but it's not harmful, okay? It's going to be fun. If you need to rest and bring your bottom up, that's okay. Just don't droop down at the waist like this. Straight is better. All right, and then you can also do this at the floor with your hands on the ground or your elbows on the ground. Lots of variation here for different intensity levels. I'm going to go ahead and start at the wall for my first round. Do what feels right for you. I would say the wall is probably the most easy on the shoulders is probably the wall. So here's our 1-minute timer, and ready, go ahead. Nice tight core, fairly straight line from the heels, hips, shoulders, and ears. The reason I think this one might be the easiest is because you're holding less of your body weight this way. It's a little bit less, you know, your body weight times gravity pushing straight down. And then just falling over to the side instead, or falling forward, I should say. Nice tight core, and you can bring your feet closer to the wall if you need to. Good work. I like to give a good exhale here while squeezing the abdominals. That'll definitely increase the effectiveness of the exercise by increasing some intentionality with it. That can be said for most exercises, by the way. And there we go, coming on up out of that. So this first circuit is going to include more core exercises. We don't always do body-specific circuits, but today I'm going to start with all core stuff. Shaking out the arms, shaking out the legs. Move number 2, you can do this standing, at the wall, or seated. It's pushing, or it's, I guess, marching against your own resistance. So it looks like this. Knee comes up, and your hands push down on the leg. Knee comes up, push down on the leg. Squeeze the abdominals as we march. Exhaling as we squeeze. You can hold onto the wall like this, pushing the left to the right, right to the left. I like to crisscross it if I'm at the wall. And then here's in the chair. By the way, the chair sometimes looks like, oh, it's the easier one because you're sitting down. Not for this move. I think it's just as hard. March the knee up, squeezing the abdominals. As you exhale, pull the knee up and push down with your hands. Here's our 1-minute timer. Squeezing as we march. Remember, intentionality goes a long way with a lot of these moves. Monitor yourself, moderate if you need to, ease up if you need to. I usually say fight through fatigue, but don't push through pain. If you're getting sharpness, back off, change it, do something totally different. I won't be offended. I probably won't even notice. All right, squeeze the core as we march. Breathing, exhale, 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 exhale. It's kind of a shallow breath, I would say. Almost there. All right, coming on up. Now this one, I'll give a couple of different options for standing. Might look like this. Elbows out to the sides, and we'll call it elbow toward opposite knees, right? Elbow toward the opposite knee, coming across the body. Now I'm saying toward on purpose. It does not need to touch. It's not elbow to opposite knee. There's no magic that happens from the right elbow touching the left knee or the left touching the right. It's just get it kind of in that direction. We're getting this diagonal oblique action going, squeezing as we kind of come down. Okay? If you need to come down with the arms, that's fine. Another option here is get the forearms up like you're blocking, okay, boxer in the ring and you're blocking, and you'll crunch right as the knee comes up, crunch left as the knee comes up. So squeeze, squeeze. Give it a good exhale. If those are working for you, I like those better, but if you need to, come to the wall and just march the knee like this, okay? You can come in, you can go out, those are both fine. I'm going to do one of these freestanding ones and use my forearms up. Here's our timer. Ready, go. So again, forearms up like you're blocking left and right, getting a little bit of twist in the spine here as we crunch. By the way, this is move number 3 out of 3. Then we'll repeat those 3 moves. Okay? That's an option. Elbows out toward opposite knee. That's an option. Very similar, right? That's the point. Or you might be at the wall for some stability, squeezing the core as you just march. Might bring the knees out to the sides as well. You decide what works for you. Almost done, and then we'll be back to planks. Remember, you can take as many breaks as you need to during a move, skip the entire move, take a break at the beginning of the next move. You don't have to get there right when I'm there. Shake it out, shake it out. If you need a break, take it. I'm going to get to planks for a second round here. This is round 2 of our first circuit. Last time I was at the wall. You might be at the floor. That's a little much for me today. I'm going to be at the chair. So I'm going to have my hands on this chair. Nice tight core, fairly straight line from the heels, hips, shoulders, and ears. Squeezing the abdominals. Hands down underneath the shoulders. Your heels don't need to be flat on the ground, right? It's not a stretch. Your toes can just be down. It's not like a yoga downward dog stretch. Squeeze the core and exhale. Good work, good work. Okay, so I've been talking about taking as many breaks as you need to. You can also keep moving. If I'm taking a formal rest break, which I take Formal rest breaks at the end of 2 rounds of a circuit usually. You don't have to take a break, right? If you're raring to go and you just want to keep on jogging or do previous moves, that's fine with me. Try to keep your eyes down on the chair, down on the floor, down on the wall for this move, so you don't want to turn the neck, look at me or a mirror or anything like that. Almost done. We'll be marching against resistance. Good work, good work. There's our timer. Come up slow and steady, especially if you're on the ground. You don't want to get dizzy from standing, like I do. All right. Nice tight core. If you're standing, looks like this. Okay. You might be at the wall, putting the right hand to the left knee, left hand to the right knee, pushing down. Last time I did this circuit, I at least, sat in a chair, and I'm telling you, it's just as hard as the standing ones. Minus any fall risk, right? So it's kind of nice. Here's our timer. Squeeze the core as we march the knees up, pushing down with your hands. Okay, good work. I'll do it freestanding this time. Good job, everybody. Breathing. You might slow it down, get a good intentional squeeze. Almost there. 5. And here's the timer. Shake it out, shake it out. Move the hips a little bit if you need to. Kind of reset with a hula hoop circle. And here we are. This next move, remember, 3 options. Well, the options are endless, but these are the 3 I'm suggesting. Forearms up, crunching to the sides, right? Elbow toward opposite knee, or at the wall, just marching. Bring the knees up, maybe bring them wide if you feel like it. Here's our timer. Okay. Again, elbows out, coming down at a diagonal, elbow toward opposite knee. That's one option. Good work. Forearms up and crunching left and right. Kind of turning toward the knee that rises. Good, good, good work. All right, and this will be the end of our abdominal circuit right after this move. The end of abs for us for today. All right, almost there. I need a little break, just like anybody else, and I'll go back into it. Awesome, guys. You guys rock. Almost there. And there's our timer. Okay, like I said, this is my time for a formal rest break. If you want to keep on moving and grooving, go for it. By all means, go for it. I'm just going to take a brief second here to get a sip of water. And we'll get into some more exercises. All right, getting the legs involved here. Okay, this move is a vertical spine, lateral leg raise. I don't have a seated version of this. If you do need help with stability, I would recommend holding onto a wall. In fact, if you don't need help with stability, I recommend holding onto a wall because you get more out of this exercise if you sway less. So if I'm swaying left and right, I'm not going to get as much out of it. If I hold firm, nice tight core, unlock the knees, and my legs come out, but my spine stays still, I'm going to get more out of this move, right? Here is me doing this at a chair. Looks very similar. I'm tipped forward a little bit. That's fine. You just don't want to tip side to side, okay? Swaying isn't good. It's a lot like doing bicep curls and swinging the weights, right? You're not going to get as much out of that. Takes less effort, and it possibly hurts yourself. Here we go. Nice vertical spine, tight core. Here's our timer. I'm going to do this at the wall back here. That's my favorite version. Leg and leg. The height of the foot is not critical here. What is critical is that you go slow and steady. Not just for safety, but for effectiveness, right? If you go too fast like this, you're using momentum, right? That kind of leverage is just, it's too easy. Right? You want to go slow so that it has a lot of effort. If you want to burn calories, not just today, but in the future, right? Effort is the key. You got to try. It is definitely an intentionality-based goal, right? You've got to squeeze the muscles. It's got to be challenging to burn fuel. If it's really, really easy and you're just floating around, you're probably not going to be burning fuel. Think of yourself as a muscle car. Building muscle, burning more fuel. Slowly, steadily. All right, there we go. Shake out the hips if you need to. There's our timer. Shake it out, shake it out. Next up, let's do an upper body move here. So we're splitting it up now. That was legs, upper body's next. This is going to be a simple two-hand bicep curl simultaneous. I'm doing same time on purpose today. A little bit less heart rate building than the alternating bicep curl. And anyway, we'll get to that one later. So here we are. I'll start our timer. I like to do 1 foot forward and 1 foot back for this. Shoulder blades back, chest up, nice vertical spine. And the reason I like to have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back is so that I have good front to back stability. You can stand with your feet side to side. That's absolutely fine. A lot of people do it. But as you get into heavier weights, you might find that you're swinging a little bit more and swaying and bothering your back. So I like the 1 foot forward technique. You decide what's right for you. Hammer curls are fine. That's where the weights are vertically placed like you're swinging a hammer. Supinated curls are fine. That's where the palm is up like you're holding a bowl of soup. Horizontal weights. And both are fine. This is move number 2 out of 3 for this circuit. Shoulders back, chest up. If it's not challenging for you, you might stuff some grocery bags or get some more resistance with more resistance bands or weights or whatever you can get your hands on for more intensity, if you need more intensity. All right, shake out the arms, shake out the legs. The next move here, this is a narrow squat tap out. Okay, and you don't have to squat for it. You can modify this. Let me show you the full version, then we'll get to modifications. It looks like this. Narrow feet, but there's space between my knees, there's space between my feet, right? It's not narrow touching. It's just not wide. I should say not wide, squat touched. Anyway, squat tap out. So we squat down, shoulder blades back, hinging at the hips. When we stand, we don't stand very tall. We just tap the toe out to the side. Squat, tap. Squat, tap. From the side, it looks like this. Toes are forward. Hinging at the hips, right? Like there's a pin through here. Shoulder blades are back, so the back is nice and straight still. We're not rounding at the back at all. You want to try to keep the shoulder blades back as you squat down. Tap. Squat, tap. Staying a little bit low if you can. And that's just the full version, right? If you don't do that, that's okay. You can just tap the feet. Forget about the squat altogether. Just go left and right. Tap, 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 tap. A lot like our warm-up where we were punching or we're doing side jacks. You're welcome to go back to those moves at any time. Here's our narrow squat tap out for 1 minute. Timer's going. Squat and tap. Squat and tap. Good work, everybody. The depth of your squat, entirely up to your joints, right? Entirely up to your comfort. Sure, if you squat a little bit lower, you might use a little more energy. That's great, but if you're overdoing yourself, that's not great, right? Setbacks are bad. Want to avoid them. We don't want to be out for 3 weeks or 3 months. It's not worth the 5 extra calories you burn from squatting a little bit lower. Now, if it feels fine, then sure, by all means, go for it. Go low. That's great. Trying to keep the shoulder blades back. There we go. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Okay, that's move number 3 out of 3. What do? Go back to move number 1, which is our lateral leg raise. I'm going to support myself at the wall again. That's my favorite. You know what? Just to demonstrate, I know I already demonstrated, I'm going to do this holding onto a chair, just for some variety here. You don't have to hold on to something. It could be freestanding. You just want to sway as least amount as possible. Here's our timer. Nice tight core. Hinge forward is fine, just to go forward to reach the chair, but you don't want to tip left and right. Slow and steady. The height of the foot is not critical here. Slow and steady. Control, that is critical. Good work, everybody. Breathing. All right, after this, simultaneous biceps curls. I had my right foot forward last time, so I'm going to have my left foot forward this time, just for some stabilization muscle symmetry, right? Symmetry of those stabilizers. You don't want to grind away at the same foot forward all the time. All right, coming out of that, I'm going to move my chair. Shake it out, move the hips if you need to. I'll grab my weights, and there's our timer. Take your time getting there. You can cut off 20 seconds if you need the break. I hope I'm encouraging you guys enough to make breaks that you need. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, shoulder blades back, chest up nice and tall. Eyes stay straight forward. I don't want to look left and right at you guys or a mirror or anything like that. Dog running by, right? Stay focused and stay straight forward with the eyes. I've injured my neck before looking left and right at the gym. We don't want to do that. So notice my palms are up here. That's supinated. Thumbs are up here. That's a hammer. Both are fine. You decide. Slow and steady, especially if the weights are heavy for you. If they're feeling really heavy, like a lot of resistance, you want to go extra slow, which doesn't make it easier. Actually, it makes it harder, but it makes it safer. All right, there's our timer. Final move in this circuit, in this second round. This is the narrow squat tap out. Feel free to face a wall if you need to hold on to a wall for stability. Feel free to skip the squat portion and just tap, right? Any depth is fine. You decide what works for you. Shouldn't say any depth is fine. You probably don't want to squat so low that you're hitting your bottom on the ground. Shoulder blades back, sink down, tap the toe. Sink down, tap the toe. Okay, facing you. And I'm staying low the whole time so that my supporting leg, the leg with my weight on it, still using fuel, still using calories, right? Still working on strengthening, endurance. You are strong. Fighting through fatigue, but not pushing through pain. The arms are here just for balance, really, to keep the back upright. Breathing. All right. There we are. Shake it out, take a brief break here, or as long as you need. I'm going to take my formal rest break, get a sip of water. We'll be on to our next circuit. Okay. Shaking out the arms, shaking out the legs. Here we go. So this next set of moves, like I said, I told you we would get to the alternating bicep curls later. I like to save it toward the end because then we really spike our heart rates a little bit more. You get more tempo in, I think, when you do them alternating like that. That being said, don't go too fast for yourself. We don't want to swing the weights, right? You want to go slow enough to where you're controlling the weights up and down, especially if it gets heavier. So that's our first move here, is a bicep curl, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, shoulder blades back, alternating here. There's our timer. And like this, I'll go in slow motion at first. Right, down, left, down. Now those are taking turns alternating, but you can also do it where while one is coming up, the other one's going down. Does that make sense? So right now they're not taking turns, they're always moving at the same time. This is taking turns. Left, down, right, down. You'll get twice as many repetitions in if you alternate like this, or they're not taking turns, or they're both moving up and down, just opposite directions at the same time. Now, maybe you don't need twice as many repetitions. If it's super heavy weight, if I grabbed my heavy weights over there, I would not want to be doing it this way. Right? I would take turns if I was grabbing my heavy weight today. Anyway, good work. After this, we got tipping and kicking. I'll show you that. Okay, this move looks a little bit careless, so be careful with this careless looking move. This is a tip and kick. Earlier we had a vertical spine with legs swinging out to the sides, right? Pendulum left and right. This one is tipping to the left and kicking to the right, tipping to the right and kicking to the left. Now, you don't have to kick that high. There's no goal for height of kick. You can kick very low. You can even, I don't know if you can hear that, tap the toe on the ground, okay? You can also, and I recommend this for everybody, including myself, hold on to the back of a chair, although chairs move, right? I like a wall, so I hold on here, tip and kick, and I'm just holding on with a couple of fingers. I don't know if you just saw that, I accidentally added a squat, which I often do. So you decide if you want to add a squat as you land with the foot. Here's what that would look like. Tip and kick, land and squat. Tip and kick, land and squat. If you don't add the squat, that's fine. It just looks like this. You're just rocking left and right. You might have one hand on a wall or a chair, something to stabilize you. I like that. That way I'm not worried about balance. I'm just thinking about burning calories. Here we go. Timer is going. Remember, if I'm ever talking too much, you don't have to wait for me. Tip and kick. Landing quietly. If you can land quietly on that toe, that will improve your body control and strengthen those muscles associated with descending down. Almost like a plyometric, like when you jump off a chair and try to land softly. Similar activity here. Okay, again, the height of the kick is not critical. It could be a very low kick. Could be a tap, right, and a punch. So you decide if you're going to add the squat, you decide on the height of the kick. Sounds like you're in charge here. All right, we're almost done. This is move number 2 out of 3 for this circuit. Round 1. There's our timer. Shake it out, shake it out. All right, friends. Move number 3 for this circuit. It's tough. It's a lot. It might be too much if you make it too much. There are ways to make it less. The full move looks like this. This is a narrow squat, lateral arm raise. Full range of motion is a lot. Okay? You don't have to make it that hard. Using weights makes this a lot. Even the light weights that I use, it's a lot for this one. So anyway, come out no higher than the height of the shoulders. Lower is good. Lower is fine. Lower is great. Partial range of motion is fine for this. The depth of your squat, not critical. You don't need to go low, 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 low. You can stay very moderate with this just to burn some calories, continue the heart rate going here. Use no weights, that's an option. Make sure there's space between the knees though and space between the feet. You don't want them buckling in like this. You want them to support themselves, not each other. Knees forward, toes forward. All right, I'm going to get the light weight for this. Like I said, this one's Kind of a doozy sometimes. Shoulders back, chest up, just like all our other moves. Sink down and out. Sink down and out. Another view here. Sink down and out. This is full range of motion, but you don't have to. You can do this very small, partial range of motion stuff. Shoulders are involved, core is involved, legs are involved, everything's involved. Shoulder blades back, pulling the shoulder blades down, eyes are forward. You don't want to look left and right, especially on this one. Anything where your arms are moving or the shoulder blades are moving, you don't want your neck moving around for. Okay, I'm going to squat a little bit deeper now because I feel comfortable with it. If it's your first time, maybe go slow. Maybe go real slow. Maybe even bend the elbows a little bit, that's fine. Breathing. All right, there's our timer. Good work, good work. Okay. If you need a break, take your break. I'm going to keep going for those who want to keep on moving. Bicep curls are next. This is move number 1 out of 3 for this second round of this final circuit. 1 foot forward, alternating bicep curls. Here we go, friends. Here we go, here we go. Shoulders back, chest up, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And left and right alternating. Like I said, don't swing the weights. You don't want to go like this. Okay? If it's lighter, right, if it feels really light, you might be able to go a little bit faster, but the heavier you get, you want to really slow it down. Not because you're going to drop it. That's not why. You're going to pull stuff in your back because it's less effective than going slow. You want to slow it down. All right, awesome job, everybody. Eyes forward. Breathing. Good, good work. Here we go. There's our timer. All right, tipping in, kicking. It's the one that looks pretty careless, but you got to be careful, right? Tip left and kick right. Tip right and kick left. Add a squat if you feel like it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to face you this time. I do recommend people hold on to a wall, but I didn't face you last time, so I just want to look in your direction. But here we are. Tipping and kicking, landing and squatting if you add that squat. Tip and kick, tip and kick. So this is not a balance class, but it does just so happen that this type of move will help with balance, especially that landing softly. Landing softly, right? Helps to train us to respond to our body weight times gravity. Good work, good work, good. Almost done here. This is our second to last strength, circuit, cardiovascular, weight management, weight loss, endurance, all that kind of stuff. Move, okay? This is our second to last one. We've got one left. That's the narrow squat with the lateral arm raise. Move to your preferred capacity. And then we'll get to stretching. So, shake it out. Take a break if you need it. I'm going to get my light weights. Here we go. All right. Glasses are going to fall off, I think. Here we go. Eyes forward. Unlock the knees. Narrowish squat. And out. Slow and steady. Good controlled movements. So I'm just testing where I like to come. I would say I like to come about here. Not perfectly parallel with the ground, but a little bit farther than halfway up. That's my preference. I'm really fighting against gravity that way, but not even coming close really to something that might pinch my shoulders. Partial range of motion, right in here, right in the middle ground. That's great. And there's our Timer. All right, friends. It's not over yet, but the strength portion is. Shake out the arms. Shake out the legs. Breathing. I'm going to grab my chair so that I have it available. And I don't know, we got 10 minutes or so left to stretch. Here we are. Stretching is very important after all that, right? Moderate stretching is very important after all that, I should say. You don't want to stretch for range of motion necessarily now, as in you don't want to do a lot of aggressive static stretches, but mild to moderate active stretches where the muscles expand and contract and they get longer and shorter. They're stretching in and out of tension. So let's recover the muscles now that they're all swollen and puffy with blood and oxygen and nutrients. Here we go. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. You can do this seated, by the way. And switch directions. Up, forward, and down. All right, turn the head left and right. And roll the wrists, bend and extend the elbows. Here we go. I'm going to start up top today and work my way down. So nose forward, and I'm going to tilt my head down toward the ground. Bring my head 45 degrees to the left and right, just over the hip and the toe, right? I'm not looking over the shoulder. That's too far. I just want to go over the hip and toe. Breathing in, maybe unlock the knees. Swaying at your own preferred timeline here. And we'll come back to the center and roll up slow and steady. Shrug the shoulders. All right. Let's come up with the hands. Palms turn out and we reach back like we're scraping the walls behind us. This is for the chest. Circling out and back. Okay, let's do 2 more of those. It's just kind of to get the shoulders warmed up for this next one. Out and back. And last one, up, out, and back. Okay? For the chest, we're going to go in and out of tension. This is the disco dance move. Sometimes I do these circles. You're welcome to go there if you know those moves. But I'm going to come down and across, up and back, slow and steady. Straight into that line of pull. What that means is this is the line that I get the best stretch in. Back more, I don't feel a stretch. Up too high, and it's not quite the right area. I'm looking for this diagonal for myself. Back, slow and steady though. Breathing. Almost there. And last one. All right, switch sides. Down and across. Up and back. Again, if you want to do the circles, you're welcome to, if you know that move. I like the disco dance a little bit better, so I'm going straight into it. And it's slow, right? It's not like we're yanking a lawnmower cord, getting the engine started. Engine's already gone. All right, I'll do 1 more here. And roll the shoulders both directions. There we are. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Down to the mid-back. These are the rhomboids. Clasping the hands together. We got a few different stretches we do for this. I'll show you just kind of my favorite today. Clasping the hands together. Pushing to the side. Center, side, center. Doesn't seem like a lot. If you're sore, you might feel it. But if you're not sore, you might not feel the tension. That's okay. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. You're just very mobile right now from the exercises, right? So push to the side, left shoulder comes over to the right, push to the side, right shoulder goes over to the left. Doesn't matter which side you're on, but side to side. And you got to be kind of intentional about pulling that hand across. If you just bend the elbows, you probably won't get much out of it. Okay? And next up for the lats, right? And we spend a lot more time on those kinds of stretches and static stretches also in the 45-minute to hour long, the full length, I should call it, body stretch class. Lats, these are the muscles on the sides of the back. We stretch them by coming up and across, down to the center, up and across, down to the center. Okay, so we pull the hands up and across the body, pushing the ribs the other way. Hands up and across the body, pushing the ribs the other way. Here's what it looks like. If you're seated, it is a fine stretch, but the only con here, if you're seated, oops, there goes my yoga mat. See, yoga mats are trip hazards, I told you. If you're seated, you're losing some hip mobility here, some pelvic tilt, so you might have to kind of bend over to the side a little bit more if you're in a chair, but it is a fine way to do the stretch. Okay, another option is hands straight up and then just going left and right. Okay, weight shifting. Okay, I don't like that one as well because it's hard to breathe while my hands are overhead, but do what works for you. I like the V-ups that I started with. Okay, we'll skip the static stretches because this is not a mobility stretch, this is a recovery stretch. Right? Moving on, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. For the hip flexors coming down the body, 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, and it's not a very, very long stride, right? If you do that, you won't be able to do the next 3 things. So it's just a small stride, like you're going for a walk in the park. Tuck the tail, that's the first cue. Tuck the tail, squeeze the glutes is number 2, and then push the hips forward, and that's where you can kind of rock front to back and make this an active stretch. That knee in the front, see how it's kind of straightening out and bending a little bit? It's not a lot, right? I'm not trying to bend it to where it goes beyond the toe. If that's happening, my stride's probably not quite long enough. Like if I can bring my knee beyond the toe, then I probably need to bring the feet a little bit farther apart. Here we go. Tuck the tail, squeeze the glutes, push the hips forward. So everybody's stride length is going to be a little bit different here. There is such thing as too far because you won't be able to tuck the tail. All right, tip forward, step forward, march the knees a little bit, and switch sides. So you decide on the length of your stride, tuck the tail, squeeze the glutes, push the hips forward. And we're just bending and extending that front knee. Nice vertical spine here. You want to make sure you're not doing a lot of twisting and looking down and looking up, right? Stay forward. Think about your hips moving front to back. A little bit of tension in the hip flexors of the back leg. All right, tip forward, step forward, march the knees a little bit here. Just about done. Let's get to some hamstrings. Holding onto a wall. Slow, steady hamstring swing. So this is not a high kick toe touch thing. It's just a very slow and steady rise until you get a small amount of tension in the hamstrings. Usually people are overly mobile after certain kinds of exercise where your heart rate flushes your body, right? So we don't want to overexert ourselves and strain something. We want to go slow and steady for recovery. If you're in a chair, for this one, I like to pick the knee up a little bit and then extend the leg, pick the knee up a little bit and then extend the leg, using my hands as support. And I'm using my hands as support so that I'm not cheating myself, right? If you extend the knee low, like this, and you're getting the leg straight, but you're not getting any tension underneath here, then it's wasting your time. So I don't want to waste your time. So pick the knee up a little bit so that you can get some tension. It doesn't need to go perfectly straight. Tension is what we're looking for. All right, a few more seconds of this. Take your time with it. If you're liking that stretch, you can stick with it. I'm going to move on here. These are the adductors, inner line of the legs, right? These bring the legs together. So to stretch them, we got to bring the legs apart. My favorite is to hold onto a chair or a wall for this. Like this, nice wide feet. lunging left and right, pushing the hips down toward the ground. Okay? At the wall, same thing, pushing the hips down toward the ground. Now, what is important is you want to have your feet wider than your sway. Okay? When you sway left and right, you don't want your bottom to go beyond your base of support. So you want your feet to be wider than your sway. Did I say hips last time? You want your feet to be wider. Okay? Your base of support, like this. When I sway left and right, my bottom's not going beyond my foot. If I were narrower like this, I would not get the stretch that I'm looking for in my inner leg. So nice and wide. And again, I like the chair better. I like to tip forward for this one. I think I get a little bit more out of it. Like here. Okay, and this is a great move for multitasking. Not all moves are good for multitasking, but you can also go to the side and then pull back to get hamstrings again. Circle forward, side and back. Forward, side, and back. So I'm getting an extra hamstring stretch in here as I pull back. All right. And coming on up. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Looks good. All right. So that's our strength and blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. That is our strength and stretch class, everybody. Thank you all for coming. If you gotta go, then get out of here. Totally fine. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. All right, friends, don't forget to subscribe to see when I post new videos on this channel. And some of you I will see in my live classes, and some of you I will see right here. So until next time, bye-bye.